We're live, right? We're live, mate. Hello, the internet. I'm Dave Green. This is Dave Green's Street View Show. Welcome to another edition. Merry Christmas to you. We're here in Lapland on Google Street View, just hanging out with the trees. Today, my guest is Singh, a stand-up comedian from San Francisco. He's got a new album out right now on iTunes that is called Amazing Brackets Probably. He's going to be that brackets. That is the title. That's just not me saying that. That is an awesome album. And he's going to be doing a show actually at the Leicester Square Theatre on December 29th. So if you're around, go and watch that. It's called Inside Baseball. It's like an improvised talk show. And he's just told me it's got nothing to do with baseball, but it has got to do with comedy. So if you like that, go and see that. There's loads of cool people on there like Ed Knight as well as on there. So I think that'd be a really good show. And yeah, a few notes to start the show. I'd just like to say I sent out an email to lots of people getting them to subscribe to the show. So welcome new subscribers. Thanks for tuning in. And we were chatting about Christmas shopping, weren't we, Colin?
Yes, we were.
How's it? Whoa, you're really loud.
Sorry, yeah. I got excited.
I thought my head was going to explode. Colin loves Christmas so much.
I have all my Christmas shopping done.
And I was, yeah, because we were talking about the different methods, weren't we, of like doing a Christmas shop. Because I met a friend the other day who, he said, do you want to go out for lunch today? And I was like, I can't because I've got to do my Christmas shopping. And he was like, well, you can do it as you go out. And I was trying to tell him like, no, I haven't got a plan. And he was trying to make me go Christmas shopping without a plan.
Without a plan.
Which is terrible.
Makes no sense.
No, I usually, this year I haven't been that good, but usually I just buy it all online, get it delivered to my mum's house, and then I turn up and it's all there, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I just wrap it there. But
although
to actually walk around physical shops and try and buy something is mental. And that's why we're on Oxford Street, by the way, because that's where he tried to make me do it. And I was trying to explain to him, like, you need to plan where only a lunatic would go to Oxford Street near Christmas and try and...
Without a plan.
Yeah.
Is your mother receiving her gift on your behalf?
Yeah, but she doesn't know where it is. She doesn't unwrap it.
But still, I think that's...
Well, you think I should get it delivered here?
You should get it delivered to the studio. And
the studio?
You should bring it. I feel like
my house anymore.
I feel like it's strange. I don't think I would be on board with having someone receive their gift.
Yeah, but it's wrapped up, man.
But still,
in brown.
Like, I feel like I don't think Santa Claus would be on board with that.
Santa, you don't think you're bringing Santa Claus into it?
Fine.
At this late stage,
I won't ever.
Well, I don't know. Well, if my mum's watching, she can tell me if she minds, and if she does, it's too late. It's already been delivered there. Unless it hasn't arrived, then Mum, please tell me because. You're not getting a present this year.
But if your logic is she won't know if it's arrived.
Well, she'll know something's arrived.
So she has
Usually I get all my presents delivered there.
So if your mother isn't in the house from 9 to 5 for the week before Christmas.
She's retired,
she's not getting a gift.
She's around, yeah. This is your present, Mum. You got to stay in and wait for deliveries. Merry Christmas. All right. And that, I just wanted to talk about that. Really.
Yeah,
having a plan versus not having a plan.
Yeah. On a normal day, I don't go near Oxford Street without a plan.
No.
Let alone on a Christmas shopping day.
But I was saying this year I was a little bit less organised. But what I did do, even when I do go shopping though, I'll ring up and I'll reserve the thing so they've got it at their collection point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll try and do anything I can to avoid browsing in a shop.
Yeah.
Just make it as streamlined as possible. And that is the Christmas spirit. Efficiency. All right, anyway, enough about that. I think we should get on with the show, right?
Yeah.
You ready? There's our intro music. Enough complaining about Christmas shopping. Let's please welcome to the show, Singh. You want to come in, Sid? Sure. It's been hanging out in the kitchen. Thanks. Colin's clapping there, just one man.
Oh, thank
one
you.
Man clapping.
Like most of my shows, I have one man clapping.
Good enough, Sid.
All right, man. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Whack on your phones.
There we go.
So, did you like hanging out in the kitchen?
Oh, yeah. Great kitchen. They should just show pictures of your kitchen. It's
we should do. We should have another camera back there, actually, just
the backstage camera.
Showing people. Awesome,
charging
man.
my phone, which is wonderful.
Yeah, man. We're very, very nice to the guests. We got electricity.
Yeah. It's a top-notch
got
operation.
Water. He wanted a tea, but I said, no way, Sid. You're having water or nothing. What do you think this is? All right.
I know. No one has lemon ginger tea, you know?
Merry Christmas. You want to? I got all sorts of tea, mate.
I'm very spoiled.
Let's. So where were you born and raised, Sid?
So I was born and raised in East Side San Jose in a place called Evergreen on the street of Royal Meadow Lane.
That's a coincidence because I got that set up right there.
Whoa, that's weird. It's almost...
The magic of preparation.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So so this is the road you grew up on, yeah?
Yeah, more or less.
Solar panels. Is that your house? No.
No.
Solar panels.
I mean, we've moved out. It looks like it's gotten nicer since I've left, considerably, to be honest. But at the same time, this was an interesting place. So the idea behind Royal Meadow Lane was, if we make it far away enough from everything, we can make the homes bigger and therefore nicer. But when
This to me looks really nice.
yeah, right? It does. It looks gorgeous, especially on whatever street view they used. But what ended up happening was, so my parents bought it when it first opened. So they got them and 20 families got this like huge discount or whatever. And my parents like poured their whole life savings into it. And then, so it was like a giant house for like what we could afford. But like there was just nothing in it for half the time. What ended up happening for a lot of other people is they couldn't afford a house like this, so they would move in with 3 or 4 families,
Really?
and it would be like 16 people living in a house like this. And then what they would resort to is crime.
I can't imagine that in this area. To me,
I
I
know,
don't look at
yeah.
that and think like that as a
Yeah,
crime-ridden
for the
area.
first like
Be
5
careful with the table,
oh,
by the
yeah,
way, 'cause
sorry.
it's a bit
for
creaky.
the first 5 years, I would say there wasn't like a lot of crime or anything. But yeah, as it got on, you would start seeing slash tires and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
My friend got held up in gunpoint further down this road.
Jesus Christ, man. But did you ever get caught up in that yourself?
No, I waited until after I turned 18 to go to a place called Riverside, which is next up on our map. And that's when I got I was robbed 3 times.
This is where you went to uni, right?
This is where I went to uni.
And you got
This
robbed
is-
here. What happened when you got robbed?
So actually, I'm pretty sure, turn to the left if you can. So I lived on this corner apartment right here.
That's you, really?
Yeah. Pretty sure. And what happened is, because it was a corner apartment, it was the easiest one to rob.
Yeah.
Because you could jump over this fence, come in, break in, take a bunch of stuff, and then leave without any of the other apartments actually even noticing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
we're
yeah.
stuck on that corner.
Yeah.
So that happened 3 times.
Jesus, what'd you lose?
All sorts of stuff. Like, it was funny. The first time they broke in, what they did was they tunneled in through the garage. From an empty garage next door to the garage next to us, and broke into my roommate's car that was in the garage. And they busted the window. And they didn't find anything they wanted. It's like they took the checkbooks and stuff, and he just canceled those within like a tiny bit. And we ended up like not losing a lot of money from that, but it was just like the inconvenience of getting robbed by people looking.
Yeah.
And then the third time actually, it was fairly extensive, where we had like a week off from school, so we both left, and people moved in for a week. And
Just squatted the place.
they squat, they squat. And my roommate comes back, and he goes, "What, are you throwing a party?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "What? There's a..." And he tries walking up, and the people ran into the apartment and shut the door.
Yeah.
And the police had to break the door down, ultimately. And everyone denied that they were the ones who were squatting. They were like, "Oh, we just all got invited to this party." And so not only did they squat in our place and like take a bunch of our stuff, but we got none of it back.
They
Like,
just pretended.
Yeah, it was just like
Jesus Christ, man. Sounds like a very crime spree university time. I want to. I feel like we jumped forward a little bit.
Sure.
So I want to go back to. So you grew up here.
Mm-hmm.
What age did you live here before you went to university?
I was here from about 6 to 18.
And what did your parents do?
My dad was a scientist,
Okay.
and my mom was a tech writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like writing guides and manuals. So I actually was a tech writer when I was in New York. So it was like,
Yeah,
everyone thinks like, "Oh, you wrote like what's fashionable in tech," and it's like, nah. A company would be like, "Hey, we bought this other company. We want you to format their manuals so that they look like our manuals." So it's just like the actual like.
Okay,
hours
so
and
it
hours
literally
of-
like instructions and stuff. Okay, so both your parents are kind of scientific, right?
Sciencey, yeah.
Okay. And have you got that kind of brain as well? Do you think?
I think so. I think most comics have some sort of a pretty well-tuned logical mind.
Okay.
In terms of being able to, it might not always come out as logical, but it often is like you view something and you go, well, where's the logic missing in this thing? Like, and I think observational comedy is often just people going, well, what is missing logically from this situation that we have all agreed upon? And that tends to get a lot of observational comedy. And even stuff when you talk about your own life, you're often talking about, isn't it crazy that I do this thing? This is not logical. And so I think people coming from science backgrounds and even, philosophy backgrounds, I think they all have some version of that.
That's interesting. I think lots of the good stuff as well is like forcing getting a ridiculous viewpoint and getting people to come down to, do you know what I mean, using logic to like
to be
make people believe something ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? But if the logic's right, then it's like, well, that's right. I think there's loads of comedians that do that really well, I think.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So what did you study at the, let's go back to your uni. Was it law? Was that what you're doing now?
I was a political science major at Riverside.
Okay.
I was a biochemistry and political science.
Yeah.
But I graduated with political science. For 4 years. And it was a weird time. Because where I grew up is still a relatively liberal place. You know, it's the Bay Area, California. It's known for being liberal historically. But Riverside was the first place where it was in California, but it was slightly conservative.
Okay.
And so it had this like total different worldview as an example.
And would that be like the people you're studying with, like your
some of the people? There are some liberal
people. I guess
people
it depends
there
on
too.
the subject you do as well.
Oh yeah, and in like biochemistry, which was pre-medicine, and political science, which is pre-law. There's a fair shake of conservatives out there. And I just happened to room with two conservatives too, and great guys, but very conservative.
Did you just avoid talking about politics, or you did? Or you
we talked about it all the time.
Argued
about it. I mean, to me, and I think that's I think what I love about comedy is being able to just sit down with your friends and like argue about all this stuff, and no one takes it personally. No one's getting too heated about it. You're making fun of each other, but you're fine. That's my favorite. When I moved to New York, that was my favorite thing. Was I met so many people who would be down to do that. Nights after your shows.
So we were talking about this before. Weren't we? The comedians are like, you can find common ground with comics you only just met, and they're way more open to stuff like that, and probably less, not as easily offended as some.
Totally.
Some other people.
Well, do you have that? How was that in England? Do you find it the same or?
I would say so, definitely. Yeah. And I would say with comedy more than other stuff. Like I went to art school originally, and that I think people do that often from like very similar backgrounds. And it's you're meeting the same kind of people, and it's not that interesting. What's great about, and I imagine that's probably the same in like similar in like music and stuff like that. But comedy, you mean so many people from so many different backgrounds, there's so many different walks of life and ages, different times in their life, but you've all got this thing in comedy in common that brings you together. Do you know what I mean? That's
I mean, like,
and you're just chucked into a car full of people. And that's why I was like.
And I would actually go even further. I think it's stand-up specific. Like I think improvisers are more like an art school musical.
Definitely,
definitely.
I'm slightly suspicious of that.
Yeah, fair enough. Which in Riverside is an interesting place because there are nice parts of Riverside and there are not as nice parts of Riverside, and there like where I lived, the crime was sort of just starting in San Jose, but in Riverside it was sort of like built in. Like I think when I first moved into that house in San Jose, which we showed with the place that looks so nice, I think it was one of those things where like think of it like one place had a crime syndicate that was really sort of like building its roots, and the next one had an established crime syndicate. And that's the difference. Yeah.
One of them was a roots movement.
Yeah. It was like nice. It was like, hey, we're trying
like
to build something.
Mom and pop kind of.
It's a mom and pop crime syndicate.
The best type. So what were you like as like a teenager? Were you fairly rebellious, or you were like a studious
I was
kid?
somehow both a huge dork and...
Let's go back to your hometown. So yeah, huge dork.
Huge.
Well, look at these hills, and you tell me why you're a huge dork.
Yeah, whenever people talk about the Golden Hills of California, they mean brown. They mean brown, and it's in the news now, but constantly close to being on fire. But it was just this thing where like I just didn't care that much about school. I was like, I guess, smart enough or clever enough to sort of get by. But I was constantly like, this is so boring. And I wanted to make jokes and I wanted to make people around me laugh because that was...
so that's something you wanted to do from
Yeah,
quite early on. Okay.
And I just, it honestly took me until I was 2021 to start doing comedy because I just didn't think of it as a real thing.
Still quite early
do.
though, man. That's
Well, I would, what ended up happening was when I was living here, there were a lot of Indian families moving in, and they would have these like cultural events where it would be like, oh, let's all go and listen to Indian music and have our kids dance to it or something, choreographed dance stuff.
And did you have to do that? Did you get roped into it?
I got roped into it, but I was so...
Is there video evidence of that? I would love to
sure
see
there
it.
is. And the thing is, like, I hated it so much that I finally found a way to beg out of it, and in return, they would have me MC the events.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I would bring the performers on stage, and I might tell a joke or two beforehand. So technically, I've been doing stand-up since I was like 13, 14, 15.
So that was your first introduction to it. Wow, man, that's quite a unique origin story.
And the funny part of that is, I bombed a couple times. That's like,
Can you imagine like the 13-year-old you like, oh fuck, I'm really disappointed with you.
I definitely, yeah. It was that it was funny. I think the first time I did very well. But there were a couple times when like the parents were just like, no, we don't care, and we're going to keep talking during your set. And so I just had to do 5 minutes before I introduced the audience, and they were just like, we don't care for any of this.
Did you ever like slam them and go, look, this is your
is
your cultural heritage.
I think
you should be watching this.
You know what? I'm sure I tried.
Respect
go
the
well.
acts.
Yeah, especially because I was a much more. When I started comedy at like 2021, like properly started it, I was much more of a one-liner comic.
Well, yeah, okay. That's how I started. Actually. I was like that.
I think a lot of comics should start like that because it
you learn how to write
basics
jokes.
exactly. But when I was 13, 14, 15, I was doing like I'm pretty sure I was just stealing jokes from Wanda Sykes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Of I remember I did. Yeah,
she was your hero.
Yeah, it's so random.
This is a
It's
nice
like
little road.
13-year-old Indian boy doing jokes from Wanda Sykes, who used to write for Chris Rock.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing.
So what did your parents make of you doing comedy?
So the first 6 months of me doing it in college, I didn't tell them.
Kept it secret.
I kept it a secret, and I would have kept it a secret for much longer than that until my friend just accidentally told them. He was like, "Oh, you know how he's doing comedy?" And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And so they kind of figured it out from that. But they were not happy, because it makes. I mean, by the way, no parent should be happy when your kid tells you you're going to do comedy. They're basically like, "Hey, I'm going to do this insane thing, and it's going to make me unhappy way more often than I'm willing to admit."
Yeah.
But I say I love it, so what are you going to do? Like, that's a crazy. We were talking about this off camera, but once I got to college, I was like driving an hour and a half one way every week to the venue to do 5 minutes of comedy.
Yeah.
And that was only if I made it on time. If I made it on time, they gave me 5 minutes. If I got there late, they would give me this like token 1 minute spot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I would do 1 minute on Fridays.
Oh, that is so depressing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah,
like.
you got obviously because of the geography, man. You guys have to travel.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
much more depending where you live. I guess if you're in New York, obviously you can run around in loads of spots.
And if you,
I'm loving this journey, by the way.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with traveling. I just click to most of my gigs.
That's the other thing
Just
about
get
living.
there and shout into the pixels.
There was a lot of there wasn't a lot of crime when I first moved to this area, but there were a lot of like coyotes and wolves. So
Has that guy got one leg?
no, he's just standing up.
Oh, why is he doing that? That's weird.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you know him or something? I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
why I expect you to know.
Yeah,
Why,
no,
is
no.
this like a thing around
This
here?
is Greg.
Why-
Yeah, everyone knows Greg.
Oh, yeah,
He's
yeah.
always
Stop what does that say?
this destruction.
Stop this destruction.
Yeah.
What's that about?
The guy's leg being taken off.
Stop. Put his leg back.
Put his leg back. He's the one who
Maybe
actually
this
did
guy
it.
took it. Yeah. Weird, man.
Oh, I mean, that's the thing is that, so these houses, this area became this place where it was reasonably affordable to live in for the area. So they just started building houses like crazy. So this place that was like formerly very, like when I moved, or my parents moved there when I was 6 years old, it was like very, very rural and there were like farms and stuff. And now all that stuff is gone. And it's just become a place for middle-class families to move in and stuff.
Yeah.
And yet, just a ridiculous amount of crap. Like, it was the kind of stuff where, I remember when I was in high school, the local school was going to do this like magnet program where they were going to be like, every kid's going to get a laptop, school sponsored, and it's going to really help them learn in the 21st century and like really break into what the world needs. And within 2 months, they had to take all the computers back because of how many people were getting stabbed and held up for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But hang on, if all the students had them, but they were just
But the
nicking
other
them and
students were
selling
still,
them. Yeah,
exactly.
That's me going like, but why? They already had a computer. Why would they possibly need two? That's just unfair.
Yeah.
How's it looking over there, Colin? Is the stream good?
It's all looking good as far as I know. If anyone is having any issues, just send us a message and add a compliment in there. And some
Make sure it's a compliment. None of this.
Complimentary technical feedback would be great.
That's good. As long as the stream's good. Colin's happy when there's a healthy stream. So how do you say we play the cloud game, Colin?
Yes.
I think it's that time. That's the wrong music.
That's the theme
Bloody
music.
hell, 40 episodes in. Here we go.
There we go.
Right, this is, I told you about this, Sid. This is where
right.
we psychoanalyze you. But also, people viewing at home, this is your chance to join in the show as well. So what we do here, if you look at this cloud, cast your mind back to when you were a child and used to look at the clouds and see if you saw a picture.
What
Do that with this. Comment in at home. What does that look like?
What could they win, Dave?
What does that cloud look like? Oh, yeah, we still haven't got any prizes yet. So you can win. What do you reckon?
You know what?
My phone.
Yeah.
No, actually, no, not that. I instantly regret that.
Oh, man, I hope I win.
Too late now.
This,
Is anyone, let me see if anyone has entered for a phone.
All right. So for
and what
this,
do you see, Sid? Yeah, this
I see like a guinea pig. Does that make sense?
a guinea pig.
Yeah. Where let me use this. Like this is the eye, right?
Oh, yeah.
Foot, tail, body, the earish area.
Why are you saying guinea pigs? Do you think? What does that tell us about your personality?
Oh, I'm sexually attracted to guinea pigs. You know this.
Oh, I know that.
Well,
but I mean,
yeah. apart from that,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why I say guinea. I think I guess you could also say triceratops if this is the horn. This is that weird fin thing that they have. Yeah.
I see that. All right, nice.
We have Upside Down Rat on YouTube from
Upside down rat, hurtful.
Upside down rat. Why is it upside down?
because lying on its back from
Because
I see it. I see the upside. This
See
is like
the
the pie
back legs
area,
there.
right? This is the mouth. Yeah.
there you go. So
Wait, it's going like that, like it's dead.
so
Who said that?
Who am I? London. So
Upside down.
could
rat.
be
I know that guy, and I happen to know he loves rats. that are upside down,
could
so-
be taking your phone home.
My only favorite thing is like what is the laziest thing you could see outside of just calling it a cloud? And I
Cloud,
like
yeah,
the idea
like
of something
steam.
like I guess it's
Looks like steam.
looks like steam. Maybe this is Australia.
Oh yeah,
I
just
mean, I guess it's a crab.
looks like the sky. Let's go on. That's a bush.
Oh yeah. Oh, that cloud looks like a bush. For
That
sure.
looks exactly
Yeah.
like a bush. Cool, man. That's the cloud game. Now back into business.
Perfect. I have no idea where we are right now.
You don't know where is this?
Somewhere in Riverside, I want to guess.
It's in America. I should think you know where it is.
Oh, good point.
You're American, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
This has to be. I want to guess Riverside, but somewhere deep in the suburbs of Riverside.
So so what happened in Riverside? What were you doing there?
That was a college.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and Riverside is a.
Or is this? Oh no, I think I know. I think that might be a cloud thing. Let's talk about the Comedy Store.
Oh yeah.
This is not the LA one, is it? This
Right.
is
So the world famous Comedy Store is in L.A. and this is sort of the offshoot that they put in La Jolla. And it's
and this is the one you drive like miles and
Yeah,
miles
this is
to
the one
get
I would
here, right?
drive.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is I would drive 90-ish minutes to Winston's in Ocean Beach, which is the next picture. And I would perform at this.
Actually, inside the venue of this one.
inside the venue.
It's pretty cool.
And it's like clearly 4 rock bands.
Is that Chevy Chase?
I have no idea.
Looks a bit like it.
It's a fair guess. And I would do 5 minutes here to 6s of people, and then crashed on my friend's couch for 2 days. And across the street from my friend was the Comedy Store, which was the picture beforehand. And yeah, they that's what happened. That's how I actually finally got into comedy. Was I just used to keep walking past it, and I was like, huh, maybe maybe I don't want to be a doctor like my parents want me to be. Maybe I'll try this. And I just went on stage one day and I tried it. I used my friend's birthday as an excuse. It was like, oh, this is like, you inspired me to do it, so I'm going to do it for you. It's not for me. It's for you. So I don't feel bad about it. I did 3 minutes.
So you doing stand-up was a present.
Yeah.
A present.
Like,
so that's
you always
classic comedian egotist.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my present. My present to you is to get to watch me perform. Merry Christmas, Mum.
Well, it was, you know what it was? Because it said you had to be at least 21 and up to enter. So now that he turned 21.
Oh, okay.
And people were like, this is how you're spending your friend's 21 first birthday? And I was like, well, that was 2 days ago. So we got drunk 2 days ago. And this was the thing.
So here's a fun experiment. So let's pretend you're driving back after a gig here, right?
Yeah. You'd go the other way.
Go the other, all right. Yeah. Let's make this accurate. So say you've had a tough gig, right? What would be going through your head as you're driving along the motorway here?
I would just be going over the material over and over again and the reactions to it. I don't know how to say it. You're going the wrong way again.
Am I?
Yeah. So right before you get to the comedy store, you have to turn right from where we're at.
Right.
Yeah. And you're just you're hating yourself, and it's such a long journey. And you're like, I have to wait until Friday to get back on stage. And I'm probably going to take a right here.
Right. That's the annoying thing, isn't it? Yeah, if you can only gig like once a week or something, by the time it takes so long for it to what you've learned to sort of sink in. It's quite hard to develop that way, man.
Oh yeah, twice a week was like just not enough. I think you want to go slightly to this way.
Down there.
Yeah.
I love the idea that you're actually directing me like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Actually go home. It's important we arrive there.
Well, that was the thing.
That's good, man. You care. Lots of people just ignore this genius format. And just chat.
No. We're using this genius format
in the.
Well, you know what? It's also because you would hate yourself, and it's such a long drive to get to the freeway. It's that much more excruciating of that much more time to, because especially if I'm leaving on like a Monday morning to get to class, I'm miserable. Everyone else is like happy and working, and like it's La Jolla. I literally went to the most beautiful place on earth and then tried to go indoors as often as possible.
Yeah. And it's always in basements as well, as no sunlight.
And the Comedy Store is like in La Jolla is like known for it's pitch black. Like the walls, and all that stuff.
Look at that! Is that the ocean?
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. Look at this. I would look at that and I would go, you know what we should do? Go inside. I know, like Winston's is literally you can see the ocean from a 2-minute walk from Winston's and Ocean Beach.
Do you ever hang out on the beach? You a beach guy? Or?
No, I lived near the beach for so many years and I just never ended up going.
Really? I thought that was so in the culture there. I thought you had to go to the beach.
So when going back to San Jose, I lived there, until I was 18. I didn't know how to swim until I was like 21.
I don't swim.
Yeah. Do you know how?
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm considering learning. Do you ever hang out with you? Yeah, Colin's just doing random sound effects of my own voice.
I'm trying to check if anyone's watching on Facebook to let us know how the stream is there.
Fair.
Okay.
If it's dodgy, switch to YouTube.
Okay, yeah. So sometimes Facebook's a bit weird. So if you're watching on there and it looks crap, just watch us on YouTube. Same thing, different place. So the beach.
Well,
I was considering learning how to swim, but I think with me,
how old are you, Dave?
62.
Man.
No, I'm 32 years old.
You should learn how to swim 40 years ago.
It's depressing.
No, I
the
think
stupid thing is, in your school, you get taught, though. But I know what it is with me. I think my mum had a big phobia of water. So she was really scared.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you pick up on that. My dad swam, but not often. So there's no thing in our family. And then when I had the lessons at school, I think I just got it in my head that I'm a kid who doesn't swim. And I just didn't learn. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I was the same.
But now but if you don't do it for long enough, it is embarrassing being an adult and not swimming in it. And it's one of those things that other people probably don't give a shit about. But for me, it's one of those things you feel like you've left it so long.
Well, especially because there's enough parts of a pool that you're a tall guy, that you can just stand on. You know what I
Well,
mean?
just
Like,
pretend and just go, I'm swimming.
it's like, no, I'm having fun.
I'm pretty sure that guy's just standing up. No, I'm swimming.
No, I'm swimming.
Just my head.
Hey,
just
shut up,
popping out.
Greg. I'm swimming. Yeah,
If I say I'm swimming, then I am.
I'm swimming. And I mean, that was
Yeah, no, I should learn. I've got a friend who's in his late 50s, I think, and he's only just learned in adult life.
I mean,
It'd be good, man. It's good to conquer those fears.
I didn't know how to swim. I didn't know how to ride a bicycle. I still don't know how to ride a
Really?
bicycle.
Well,
Yeah.
that is lame. No, I'm joking. Can you imagine if I just shared that thing about myself? You can't ride a bike. What a fucking loser. In fact, just stop the show now.
Yeah, I'm too good at riding bikes. I can ride a bike in water, Sid. Yeah, you
Let's
understand?
just over the water, like a cycling Jesus.
Yeah, because because I had to.
So you weren't. So the moral of the story, you were not an outsidey type of.
No, I was
guy.
outside all the time because I used to love playing
But just
basketball
walking,
and
but
stuff.
just as a pedestrian. Okay, no, okay.
Well, that's the thing is like we didn't really live close enough to anywhere where like you could bike to anything. Like you saw that, like just the empty road of like farmland next to everything. It was like 15-minute drive to like the nearest like grocery store or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had friends who rode bikes. I was like, what's the point? Like, where are we going? I don't see it. We invented cars for a reason. And then I finally got to, 29, and I'm embarrassed. I don't know how to ride a bike. In fact,
Do you think it almost does seem pointless to learn now?
it does, right?
Swimming is like gem in theory. I could accidentally fall in some water and then I'd be like, fuck, I need to swim. But you're never going to accidentally find yourself on a bike.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to be able to ride it, otherwise you'll die. But
I mean,
water,
there's so many scenarios. What if
Yeah,
someone's
yeah.
chasing you, you know? You go up to the city bike, you got to rent a bike to get away from him. You know he's faster than
I
you
think
as a
you
runner.
get away. But don't you think that stuff like I've got loads of stuff like that in my life that I can't do, and I just identify.
Yeah.
It's it's a terrible trait actually.
What's another
Don't
thing?
defining yourself. Like I don't drive a car either.
Do you not know?
No, because I always grew up in London.
Oh,
so
sure.
end up-
You never know how
There's
to.
another stupid thing where it's like, yeah, the longer you don't do it,
You can't.
you know.
go.
Now I felt like a loser because I couldn't swim, I couldn't drive a car.
Yeah.
But I didn't even think about bikes. Do you know what I mean? So I've got one up on you.
Yeah. You got one up on me.
But that's it.
I can drive
But
a
you
car.
can drive, so we kind of cancel each
But
other. out.
I don't know how to parallel park because I lived in such a wide open space.
So you just never stop.
Yeah, you just never. Well, you just park into
Parking's
a spot that
different
doesn't
from parallel
have to-
park. Oh, yeah,
yeah.
see, I don't drive, so I don't really know. But wouldn't it be weird if you could you could drive but you can't park?
Yeah.
I've only driven once. And,
I mean, that was if I drive in
You have
like
to crash
New York
at the
City,
end of every trip.
Yeah, in New York City, if I'm driving, it was the weirdest. I would have to like get out, and my friend would have to switch seats with me and park. The
Oh,
car.
really?
Yeah. I never drove
So
in
you'd
New
have
York,
like a
but,
personal-
like the one time, or two
personal
times I did.
parker.
Yeah.
it's like a chauffeur, but just for the parking part.
Yeah,
It'd be great if you get your mate to wear like the whole outfit. Jeeves?
Well, they have.
And
They
then
have.
get him to do it. It'd probably be English. If that was a character in an American film, it'd be English.
They
The
have a whole-
parking chauffeur.
They have a
Oh, no, they
whole,
do actually do it. What am I talking about? That exists. I
There's
thought I
there's an
invented
app where you can park in New York City. You just text it, someone takes the car for you and parks it.
it. Yeah. Oh, really? Shit, I didn't know that. existed.
Yeah.
But I think I was talking about what are the things they call having like fancy hotels. It's way more common in America. What do they call the people who park your car?
Oh, valets.
Valet, yeah. What's the whole idea of that? I never really get it.
They're basically there's a lot of people going into a small space. Let's have someone who's really, really good at driving fit all these cars into a confined space so that it's just more efficient.
It's interesting.
I think
I think
that's
that
the
does happen here,
general
but
idea.
way less often.
Yeah,
It always seems to me like quite stressful, man, just handing your car over to someone.
yeah. I mean,
I don't have a car, but if I
think it's-
did, I would not let anyone touch it.
I think it's evolved into a thing where like
Even valets, especially valets. Just because you're wearing that fancy clothes. Don't.
I think it's evolved into a thing where it's just like people taking keys and just like tossing it at a guy. You know, where it's become
Oh,
this
really?
like class thing of like assholes.
Yeah,
like,
it seems a bit like that. It
you know
seems
what I mean?
like a
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, it's like I'm rich, I don't have to do this, and they just throw their keys at some
Yeah,
poor
yeah,
kid
yeah.
who has to park their car now.
Yeah, that's no fun, is it?
No.
Have you had some like shitty jobs whilst you're doing comedy? Have you always you've been studying most of the time?
I've been studying most of the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
to be honest. But I was, you know, and actually I got very lucky. So I started being when I moved to New York. I just graduated college and I started getting work as a technical writer.
Oh yeah.
So I would write the guides and manuals and stuff. I know I would get some side gigs from my mom as well because she was more experienced and stuff, and that would get me by. Or like I also did just some like weird odd jobs and stuff like moving and helping people move and packing stuff up and delivery and all that stuff. And man, yeah. What about you? Like, what's the craziest job you've had?
I used to clean science laboratories.
Oh, that's not bad at all. I feel like
It's not crazy.
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah. Yeah, like that pays.
But I
the bills.
remember I used to be very. I did a. I started doing that when I was at uni, and I remember I had a. I thought I got sacked once because I had like a cleaning. Actually, I used to clean banks, and I had a little beep card to get in the bank. And I was out drunk one night near a different branch of that bank, and so my friend, for a joke, I went, "Oh, what's this?" Went, "Boop," and the door went like "Bing," and like registered the.
Oh no!
And I just remember looking up at the CCTV, and I remember thinking, "All right, that's how I probably got sacked." It's like a really stupid thing to do, but I didn't though. Which raises some alarms about the security system of that bank. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That you could. I actually held the thing on the door of a bank, and there was no repercussion.
Well,
it
you
registered at the. I mean, the door didn't open, but it registered that.
Have you heard that like
someone
most
was trying to get in.
CCTVs are not actually on?
Yeah, it's just a deterrent.
It's
Isn't
just
it?
a turn. Yeah.
Such a shame. This camera isn't on. It's just a
Oh,
deterrent.
I know. No, I know. This is just you really wanted to hang out with me, Dave.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
really
yeah.
appreciate that. We had a good time at Top Secret, you know.
There is no podcast. Colin's my dad. This is just my house. I can't swim. What was it? I just feel like I saw something really weird here.
Yeah, I mean this.
What's
is,
this? What's that?
I've,
Is that a pinata?
no, I think it's like a Thanksgiving,
Turkey.
like yeah, more or less.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Boxing Day. I think this is just the kind of thing that really like La Jolla is an interesting place. La Jolla is super rich. It's super close to the beach. People who live in La Jolla are doing very well for themselves. Like Mitt Romney, the guy who ran for president, but told everyone he was living in Utah and stuff like that. He was living in La Jolla.
Oh, really?
Or he has a house in La Jolla.
Yeah.
That he spent most of his time in.
Did you ever hang out with him?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Good guy. Talked hoops, football, all that stuff. But it's that kind of place where you're just like, oh, all these rich people from LA, a lot of them are actually living here because it's a little bit quieter and it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's where the real stars live.
But then there was also just a ton of students from the UC San Diego that I would stay with. That was the couch I was sleeping on, was a student couch.
Yeah. Cool,
Yeah,
man.
it was crazy.
Whose stomach was that?
That's definitely,
I just
definitely
heard
mine.
some-
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it? Just heard his stomach rumbling.
Oh, did I wake up and come here straight here? Yeah. Is that embarrassing because I got here at 1:30 in the afternoon? A little bit.
So you're staying with. What are you doing right in London right now?
I'm just doing a bunch of gigs. I'm staying in Harrow right now with.
You're staying with your cousins.
with
aren't
my
you?
cousin,
Okay.
yeah.
Who's that? Your dad's or your mum's?
My dad's brother's kids. I feel like I most of my comedy career can be just told by the various couches I have slept on.
Yeah. So you get around, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Well, even
Lots of American acts don't really come over here, man, and bothered because I met you first at the Edinburgh Fringe, I think. Lots of American acts wouldn't bother to do that, or they'd do it later in their career. Or, do you know what I mean? But that's great, though, man, that you're kind of really
I got so lucky
seeing the world. And
my first year, actually speaking of
you
countries,
actually travel to different countries. I just look at it on Google Maps. You've been to New York? Yeah, I've been to New York. Swam there. What are you going to do?
It always sounds very sappy, but like my whole thing is like, in life you got to take big swings, and if I'm going to take a big swing like comedy, I might as well keep trying to see like what are the weirder, more interesting things I can do to like try to get better as a comedian. Like my thing is, for all that weirdness, my stand up tends to be pretty traditional. You know what I mean? I'm not like doing impressions or anything. I'm just sort of telling jokes for an hour. There's no lesson at the end of my hour. So for me, it was just like, okay, well, what are the most interesting places that I can perform at, and then what is the cheapest way for me to do that so that it's not murder.
So you've let it take you loads of places. That's good, man. That's a very good way to look at it. So this is one of the places, right? New York. When were you living in New York?
Right after college. This is an interesting part of New York. So it's 30th and 8th.
Okay.
Right next to Penn Station, which is to your right. And this is a part of New York that technically isn't really part of a neighborhood. Like, it's not really Midtown yet, and it's not Chelsea yet. So you kind of just have no real neighborhood feel as much as just this weird transient stuff, since all the trains are right here in Penn Station. So it was just this weird place where, like, it was 24/7. There would be places you can, get food at any time of the day if you're, like, staying up late trying to write jokes or write a script or whatever. And dude, this is the one time I feel like, well, not the one time in comedy you get lucky a lot if you're still doing it, but like the luckiest thing that's ever happened to me is, do you guys have Craigslist over here?
Yeah.
Right, it's like kind of like Gumtree if you don't. I found a rent controlled apartment on 30th and 8th, which is down the street to the right, that allowed me to like live there for like way below.
Should we look at it? Tell me where it is.
Oh, sure. Keep going down. Yeah. 308 30th Street. So you want to take a right now? No, one more block.
So you got really cheap.
It was crazy, and it was basically my roommate was this old director. Yeah, right here, assistant director who he just recently won an Emmy. Actually, it's crazy.
Yeah,
daytime Emmy. Yeah.
Wow, awesome.
Right here. This building right over here. They call it the Irvin now, which they did not back when I lived there. But they've tried to spruce it up.
Yeah.
So we lived in a rent-controlled apartment on 30th and 8th, and in this Craigslist ad, he just wanted someone who was not homophobic and who did not care if someone was smoking a lot of weed. And I was like, yeah,
but he still gave it to you.
Yeah, very kind of him. Very kind of him. He was like, you know
what?
Even
kind of. Yeah.
1 out of 2 ain't bad. He was away a lot on shoots and stuff, so I pretty much often had the place to myself. And it was Fritz Breckler. He's a great director too. And I got to live in this like amazing place for super cheap. And then what ended up happening is all the other people from this apartment ended up getting kicked out when they wanted to convert it to the Irvin or whatever. And so the only people who they couldn't kick out were the rent-controlled people.
Yeah.
So technically, all these apartments, half these apartments are like $1 million like condos or whatever now, or $500,000 or whatever, and they're all owned by these like businessmen from other countries, like these Chinese businessmen who like try to Airbnb it out for the weeks they're not like vacationing there, and but we're still a lot. They added a roof deck. I think there's a gym now in the basement and like laundry machines in the basement, and it's like we're just allowed to. We were just allowed to be there. Just they were like they can't legally kick us out, so they'll just try to build around us.
That's awesome, man. That sounds like a nice little
it was a
nice little life. So where else would you used to go, like when you were living around here? How many years had you been doing comedy at this time?
I first moved to New York. I had been doing comedy a year and a half.
So pretty early on.
Yeah. And I lived here for the next 4.5 years.
Wow. So that was the real sort of
definitely
grinding days, right? You can get up like 2 or 3 times a night over there, right?
2 or 3 times a night. You're looking at like I think a good goal for you is like 15 to 20 times a week. I think is a solid.
Wow, man, that's something you couldn't really do in London.
No, and I mean you can't do it in most cities. Even LA is like it's tough unless you're like on certain shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. And so actually, going back to where we just were, like Penn Station is the closest thing because you would just take Penn Station and you were 30 minutes away from
just getting the subway round everywhere. Yeah.
Wow, it was wonderful. And then once they finally finished the construction and I didn't have to wake up to jackhammers, I decided to move to San Francisco.
Nice, man. Should we take a look at that?
Sure.
Before we go there, actually, I do want one more thing about New York, because it is like New York's basically. I always think of it as like the home of stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
And does it really? Were you really aware of that when you were there?
Oh, 100%. It's the best.
Is it in the air?
It's what I know this sounds corny, but there would be this thing where like, you have 4 gigs that night, and you're just walking from gig 2 to gig 3, and you only have 2 more spots, and you kind of just start smiling. It's just great. It's just like great. There's an energy in the air. You're like rushing, but there's this thing of like, I'm doing it. I'm doing that crazy thing I decided to do.
Yeah. Very occasionally I have those kind of thoughts. Like,
yeah, of course.
I mean, that's good. But yeah, when you do, I always have the feeling like when I just leave the house, if I got a gig in London, you'll head out like 6:30 or whatever, and everyone else is coming home from their office jobs, and you're like going the opposite way.
Yeah,
sometimes I have that for like, this is
what the life.
Right, very symbolic. This is the right thing to be doing. That's cool.
100%. And I mean, you'll probably also get that in Edinburgh too, right? Of like, okay, I'm doing 3 sets tonight. Well, I'm off to gig number 2 right now from gig number 1. Just had a good gig, and I have 2 more to go. This is This is why I do it.
That's brilliant, man. All right, let's have a look at the net. So where were you saying was the next one?
100 McAllister.
This one?
Yeah.
And where are we now?
So now we're in San Francisco. I moved to
San
San Francisco.
Francisco.
You asked me if my parents were happy about me doing comedy. They were miserable. And especially when I was in New York, as happy as I was, they were just very unhappy about the idea of like, okay, but you're a technical writer and that does not pay that much money. What happens if, what happens if this drives up? What, do you have like a second plan? Do you have like anything? And I was like, I don't. And so I now go to law school, and I do.
That's
comedy
what you're doing now.
In San Francisco. I graduate in 3 months.
Man, how do you find the time? You seem like a very productive guy, man. There's no way I could do. You made me feel lazy. I didn't realize you were doing a law degree as well.
You know what the secret is? People ask me what the secret is, and it's when you tell people you're doing two things at once, they just assume the fact that you're able to do two things at once means you're doing them both well.
Yeah.
When in reality, I'm just
in reality, you're a really good lawyer.
I'm there are times I worry about anyone taking me on as their client. You know what I mean? Like I would be so nervous. But this has also been interesting because San Francisco is a place that's getting very, very rich and everything looks really nice. But
as you said that, it just turned really cloudy.
Yeah, because this neighborhood in particular is known for its homelessness and heroin addiction.
Is it?
Yeah, the Tenderloin is where I live in San Francisco. So if you go up the street, like to the right, this neighborhood is.
This is where you're currently living.
This is where I'm currently living.
Law.
So take a
cool.
right here.
Right down
here. Yeah. Oh boy, Golden Gate and Leavenworth is like a. It's not the safest place in the world, but I'll be honest. As a brown man, it doesn't really affect me very much relative to a lot of my friends.
Why is that? You get bothered less?
I get bothered a lot less. Oh yeah, yeah. Sometimes I wonder like if like there are times, especially I'm coming home from comedy, right? I have to like wake up early to do law school in the morning. And it's like 11, and I'm walking through a dangerous neighborhood, and I'm just like listening to music on my headphones, and I'm like, because I remember one time I was eating an ice cream cone, like literally like licking an ice cream cone, walking through. And I was just like, man, if I got robbed, I would deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, literally a chubby little Indian boy licking an ice cream cone, listening to music as he walks.
It's probably that type of attitude that makes you not get mugged.
I think so.
Do you know what I mean? Because people see that guy, there's something going on there.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're walking along, looking around, anxious, then you would be a victim.
I 100% think I get by. Well,
in fact, I might start doing that. I don't know if I could pull off. If I tried walking along in a dodgy neighborhood with an ice cream, people could still tell I was nervous. It's like he's licking the ice cream, but he doesn't really mean it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Whereas, I think I do have that confidence factor of like, but also, I am a man and I'm brown and a lot of them are brown, so I think that they're just whatever. Whereas, like, I know it's not great for women to walk through this neighborhood as we hear police sirens sound in the background.
Yeah, is that? Can I really hear that? That's Colin on
the
sound effect.
Okay.
No, it isn't.
Oh, it is.
That's actual police sirens.
That's the real police, the sound of the police.
Well, it's funny, I didn't realize.
It's not very bright.
Oh, although right there, the chairman, great food.
You hang out there?
Oh, yeah, the bows. I mean, I don't hang out there very often, but when I do, great food.
What type of cuisine is it?
It's like a Chinese bao. It's like a rice taco filled with meat and sauce. It's
yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Nice. Shout out to the chairman.
The chairman.
We got anything happening on the old there, Colin?
In a word, no.
That means internet. I keep... Let's say no. We should come up with a signal about whether there's comments. Because every show...
So we don't highlight the fact that there's no comments.
So what's happening there on the phone-ins, Colin?
I can't believe
nothing.
them.
Good. No, we already got a comment.
I generally try. I do see some messages are being retracted on YouTube.
What else?
Retracted?
I'll show you that later on.
It's spam. All right.
What else?
We're big. Most of our fans are spam bots. It's the Saturday before Christmas, man.
Sure. But our current winner in the cloud competition, one of his messages has been retracted.
Really?
Yeah. So
do they not know he's the winner of the cloud competition?
Well, so something funny is going on there. Well,
ask him to tell us what else sounds like or what else looks like an upside down rat. I think that's our fan base today.
Yeah, that's upside
down rat, guys. No, that's Trenton, man. He tunes in every show, so thanks.
Oh, thank you, Trenton.
Thanks for watching, Trenton. Number one.
I can't believe me droning
number one
on.
fan. All right, man. I think we should. That's pretty much it. I think. This is what we do sometimes to end the show. We go back to where you grow up, all the way back through time.
Well,
back to here. I think that's right. If you saw, I know that we've walked along the road a little bit, but if you saw the young, say, 10-year-old Sid around about the time maybe you're doing those shows at your neighbor's house, and you could give him some advice, what advice would you give him for the future?
Kill yourself.
Kill yourself, Sid.
No, I would. I think I would almost take things even less seriously.
Yeah.
I feel like when I was a kid, I was like so nervous. I was like, oh, everyone wants me to be a doctor, and I feel like, if I become a doctor or even if I become a lawyer, my biggest fear is the idea that like, well, then my life has sort of already been written. You know what I mean? So many people have been doctors and lawyers in your life and have lived a very specific kind of life where, like, okay, well, you go to school for this many years and you get your degree and you do this for 4 years and then you buy a house and then you meet someone and you marry and then, you buy a bigger house and you have kids and then you die. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's terrifying to me. And I think even as a kid, that was terrifying to just have like be 13, you're going to live to like whatever, 70, 80 if you're lucky, and just have it all be written for you. And just like that, don't worry about it. One day you'll find comedy as like a job, and it helps you see a different day every day.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice place to end it.
Or kill yourself.
Or kill. It's up to you. It's up to you, young Sid. That was really cool, man. Thanks for coming on the show, Sid.
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Thanks for having me. And yeah, if you're listening to this, please do go to Leicester Square Comedy Theater on the 29th for a show called Sid Singh Presents Comedy. Because not only have I listened to this interview, but I'm pretentious at all times.
That's it. Sid Singh. Check out that show, guys. I've been looking at who's on that. There's going to be some really good people on there. That does genuinely look really cool. But for now, thanks for tuning in. I've been Dave Green. This has been Dave Green Street View Show. He's been Sid Singh. Colin Chadwick on the soundboard there. And yeah, if you're enjoying it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the Facebook page, and I'll see you again after Christmas. Merry Christmas, guys. Good night. Thank you.